the victory with Crawford is he can't start off slow. Mm-hmm. You notice every time he start off slow, he get hit or get dropped. You know what I mean? So he gotta be on his P's and Q's, man. What I mean, he gotta be slick. To me, he's a little bit more athletic anyway. You know what I mean? When it comes down to changing styles and moving and, setting everything up. And he's a good counter puncher. And now, if you fight Spence and you start off slow like that, he's another great fighter too. Just like Crawford, they both great fighters. Spence gonna walk you down behind the jab, basic, hands up high, and break you down, man. And man, if he do that slow with him, Spence got to fight.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy No Credit, and I'm back again with another one. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, that notification icon for more videos like this. That being said, let's get into it. You just heard the voice of Bozy Ennis. Bozy Ennis was one of the leaders of the Spence crew. Shit, I can literally label him a Earl-sexual. I mean, we could, even though his son was the mandatory for Earl Spence Jr., but Earl Spence refused to fight him, and he didn't even care because he was an Earl Spence fan. I mean, they were over there at PBC. They didn't want to criticize Earl, knowing damn well your boy Jerron Ennis was the Mando for Earl Spence. You didn't even care Jerron Ennis didn't get to fight Earl. You knew Earl was moving up, and you was okay with getting a free belt. But anyway, I don't want to get off topic. I want to talk about what he was talking about. You guys clearly heard in the video, going into that Terence Crawford versus Earl Spence fight, like I said, Bozy Ennis was one of the leaders of the Earl-sexuals and the PBC supporters, where when they broke down the fight with Terence Crawford and Earl Spence, they all said the same shit. Earl Spence throws 100 punches around. Terence Crawford starts off slow. I mean, it was so disgusting to the point that Bozy Ennis just told a blatant lie. Like, I know y'all heard everything he said in the beginning. He literally just lied. He says, every time, I repeat, this is his exact words. He says, every time Terence Crawford starts slow, he gets dropped. Officially, Terence Crawford has never been dropped. Never been dropped in his career. When did he get dropped? What is Bozy Ennis talking about? He must have been talking about the wrong fighter. When was Crawford's dropped? He's never been dropped officially. There was this one slip up where people say he got dropped versus Mean Machine. But other than that, and it wasn't even counted officially. In my opinion, it looked like a slip. But other than the Mean Machine fight, what is Bozy Ennis talking about? The man literally said, every time he starts slow, he gets dropped. And he can't start slow against Earl Spence, because if he starts slow against Earl Spence, who is a great fighter, he's going to work behind that jab, stay basic, and it's over for Bud. And he even picked Earl Spence to beat Bud. Like I said, he was one of the leaders, the leading candidate of the Earl-sexuals. Every time he gave Earl Spence, he gave an interview about Earl Spence. He said Earl Spence is great. He's a great fighter. He does everything basic, but he does everything right. Honestly, I feel like these guys was doing all of this talking because they thought that fight would never happen. So they'll never get exposed for some of the biased shit they were saying. and all of the cap they've been saying for years. The fight actually happened, and everything they've been saying turned out to be a lie. And they were so embarrassed and so ashamed of what happened. They couldn't believe what happened, and they couldn't believe that they knew absolutely nothing about what they were talking about. Everything they thought was going to happen was the opposite of what happened. And they were so embarrassed that they had to convince themselves that something was wrong with Earl Spence. Earl Spence himself, all he said was he had cataracts. But after the fight, when we listen to guys like Bozy, Ennis, you know what he said? He says, Earl Spence wasn't the same, man. He was all discombobulated. He was all moving funny. He looks like he was high. He was all over the place. Like, he said all types of shit. Some people just don't like to be wrong. And that was the whole situation right here. He didn't like the fact that everything he's been saying for years, every interview he does, he'll say some hating stuff about Bud, but then in the same breath he'll call him great. How you gonna say some hating stuff about the man, then call the man great? You literally just lied and says every time he starts off slow, he gets dropped. How is that okay to say when we've never seen Bud really get dropped? How is that okay to say? You got a lot of people listening to YSM Sports Media Podcast, and you just on there telling the fans some false information, which makes absolutely no sense. You on there telling the fans false information that makes no sense. You on there telling the fans that Bud gets dropped every time he starts slow. So how many times did Bud get dropped according to you? How many times did you see him get dropped? Huh? How many times did you see him get dropped? Because you said every time he starts slow. So what fights did he start slow that he got dropped in? Is what I'm trying to figure out. What fight did he start off slow that he got dropped in? Because when we look at his entire career, he's never been dropped before. The only fight you could talk about is that Mean Machine fight where people thought he got dropped. Other than that, when did we ever see Bud get dropped? What is Bozy Ennis talking about? And people really listen to Bozy and take everything he says into an account. Clearly, it was a PBC thing, and he may have not been given his honest assessment of the fight because he was trying to stay non-biased. Non-biased meaning like he wasn't trying to give Bud his entire credit because Earl would have felt some type of way.